This is Joy News. Today, our headlines. This hour, residents of Mahia in the Ablekuma West constituency begin to heave a sigh of relief as construction work begins on the 5-kilometer stretch that became the reason for protest in that community last week, leading to a scuffle between the people and security personnel deployed to the community to maintain order. Also in this bulletin, Ghana Association of Private Employment Agencies blames the continuous exodus of Ghanaian girls to the Gulf states to work as domestic helps on illegal agencies that are irresponsibly smuggling them through Togo and Nigeria. Also, 20-year-old female pupil participating in the ongoing Basic Education Certificate examination in Adaklu in the Volta region are moved by restrictions posed by her hunchback condition as she rides her paper-lined portrait. Will tell you her story. And state funeral for late Major Maxwell Adams Mahama begins with a vigil at the Burma camp later this evening. We'll get more details as we speak to the Public Affairs Directorate of the Ghana Armed Forces ahead of final funeral rites. Let's now take you back to that forum ahead of the 25th anniversary of the National Democratic Congress.
Of the revolution, where important organs or structures of popular participation in decision-making at the community level. And here, when I'm talking about the community level, I'm talking at the basic level, the branch level. They were also organs that were helping to transmit information from the leadership of the revolution down to the people. And that explains what people don't understand: the near invisibility of the revolution at the time. That despite various attempts, the revolution was able to stay on for that long because the people were not cut off from vital or critical information as to the global situation, the national situation, and the local situation. People were actually engaged, popular participation, and that was through the structures, the PDC, WDCs that were put in place. Mr. Chairman, when we say popular participation, it was not just something that was being said or touted. In every workplace, in every community, in every small hamlet, our people knew why, for example, the PNDC had to go to the IMF, why we had to go undertake structural adjustment policies as a nation. And they were not only receptors, they will question, they will add, they will contribute. And when those contributions were made, because these were important structures of transmission, those concerns, those suggestions, recommendations of the ordinary people found their way up through to the leadership of the PNDC. So participation of the people was truly, truly functional at that time. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, so as I said, the resilience of the revolution found is or became possible because you have an active population that was engaged. That was what, as I said, made the revolution very successful. Apart from getting involved in political activity, through these structures of popular participation at that basic level, basic needs of the people were being undertaken by them. So we have the primary health care programs, that were being practiced at that level through the people. How to ensure basic hygienic conditions amongst the people were issues that, through their structures at the community level, they were beginning to take very serious. Some other basic things. Haji spoke about arbitration. Instead of looking always for people to go to courts, etc., basic problem, challenges of the community were dealt with at the community level by the people themselves, their representatives who were accountable.
That was a leading member of the NDC, Dan Budakpi, speaking at that forum to commemorate the party's 25 years. We'll take you there shortly. But work has finally started on the 5-kilometer stretch of the Ablekuma-Mahia Road at Mahia in the Gan West municipality. The bumpy road, blamed amongst others for miscarriages in pregnant women, was the scene of massive protests by residents who blocked the road to pressure the authorities to fix it. Joy News' Latif Idris was on the road and reports there may be some relief soon for the people of Mahia and adjoining communities.
After years of suffering on the convoluted bumpy road, Joy News told a story about how the Mahia Road is causing miscarriage among pregnant women. That story was subsequently followed by a violent demonstration by the youth of this community who protested government's inaction on the road. Now, today, it has gotten results. In the background, we can see the earth-moving machine busily working on the road, trying to bring the relief the people have been waiting for all these years.
I'm happy now. I'm happy. We are suffering about past 2 years now. Our road is poor. We don't have proper road here. And today we are seeing the difference. About 1 week ago, we have a demonstration here because of our road is too bad. But now we are seeing the difference. The contractors are starting working on the road. We are happy.
In the end, what exactly do you, what kind of road are you looking forward to?
Oh, we are expect the asphalt road. Here is the city of the Accra. We are expect the asphalt.
Okay.
We are part of Ghana.
Okay.
And if you can get the proper road, asphalt road, we could be happy.
The Municipal Chief Executive of Gan West, Clement Lamte Wilkinson, tells Joy News the stretch would be given a bituminous facing in the coming months.
I resumed office 2 weeks ago when our people started demonstrating on the road. But if I may say, the municipality have taken about, we are in 30 years now. But in fact, it takes a particular time to do something. And right now, if you see, last week, our people demonstrated on this road that the roads are not good. Therefore, we are trying to do something for them. And as I said, I promised my people that we will surely do something for them. And this is what we have done. As you have seen now, we have is more than about 16 kilometers road, which they demonstrated on it. And right now, we have about 2 days to finish the whole project. Yeah.
But what kind of road are we looking forward to? I spoke with some of the residents earlier, and they mentioned that they want an asphalted road. Is this something you are considering?
That one can be done, but not now. As you know, the change of government, the road, there's a lot of issues that is pending on it. So right now, we have to hold on for a while. But we can do this for now. This is going to take about 3 months for them to apply the road, which is, I think, is good for them.
He later joined assembly members of the municipality to inspect the rather poor drainage system which falls within his jurisdiction.
My number one challenge here is my road. That is, you cannot do away with drainage and then go and construct road. No, they move together. It's just like security and lights. They move together, because if you construct the drainage without the road, that meaning you haven't done the problem or you haven't solved the issue.
The construction work is expected to be completed by Friday.
The Ghana Association of Private Employment Agencies says that illegal agents are smuggling Ghanaian girls seeking greener pastures in the Gulf region through neighboring Togo and Nigeria. The Employment and Labor Ministry recently banned recruitment agencies from recruiting girls to work in the Gulf region. Joy News' latest hotline documentary, Gold in the Gulf, highlights girls working long hours and being poorly fed. Some of them are raped and maltreated by their slave masters. Executive Secretary of the Ghana Association of Private Employment Agencies, Dr. Princess Akansey, wants government to strengthen legal agencies operating in the country.
You know, migration is something that people do whether we like it or not. And so what the Ghana government has been doing is having this legal channel. But because of this ban, there are people who are taking their workers through Togo, Nigeria, and other places. It's the same thing that's happening in Libya to Italy. When there's no legal channel, people will take the illegal channels. And that's why all governments make sure that they provide a legal channel for migration, because the illegal will take over. And then we'll have more problems than we even ever had before. So it's important to strengthen the legal and then eradicate the illegal.
When did this come to your attention? Other agents using illegal route to get these girls out?
The illegal, we have about 52 licensed agencies. Then we have illegal agencies, which are over 300. Because the ban has affected just about everybody, the illegal agents, and I want to make sure I make this very clear, because for a licensed agent, if you take somebody through Nigeria or any other place, your license will be taken away from you. And you pay 25,000 Ghana cedis for that license. So we have a lot to lose by doing the wrong thing. So we cannot do the wrong thing. But the illegals have not paid for any license. There's no accountability, no responsibility. So it's much easier for them to break the laws. So if that person takes the people that they are taking illegally, it's another airport, that's all. For them, it's another airport. But for us, it's a big deal.
And you support the ban that's currently in place?
We, as the Ghana Association for Private Employment Agencies, we petitioned the government due to the national outcry, which we know, being in the business, was coming from the people who are recruited directly into the homes, where we have 90% of the issues that we're having right now. So we petitioned the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations for a complete ban on a direct-to-home. But we've also now petitioned for strengthening of the licensed agencies so that there will always be a legal channel for people to travel, so that they wouldn't have to resort to the illegal channels, which continue to create problems for everyone.
Disability is certainly not inability, and this is evident in the story I'm about to tell you. 20-year-old Bernice Ekpe would not allow her hunchback condition frustrate her dream of becoming a nurse. Though the condition has disrupted her education several times, she's refused to give up. Ms. Ekpe is one of the thousands writing the 2017 BECE, a step she believes will take her closer to realizing her dream. Joy News' Volta Region correspondent Fred Kwame Asare caught up with Bernice at the examination center at Adakluwaya and filed the following report.
20-year-old Bernice Ekpe was born a healthy child to a farmer couple in Adakluwaya and had no sign of disability during her infancy. At age 6, a hunch started developing at her back, coupled with severe pains in her spine. Her parents quickly took her to the hospital, but couldn't afford the medical bill for her condition to be fully corrected. Bernice since then pays occasional visits to the hospital for medication whenever she's in pain. Her condition has disrupted her schooling several times, as she's had to stay home for months to nurse her pain.
Something appeared at my back. It always pains me. So if sometimes I don't feel comfortable if I'm sitting down, I always lie before it or steady my feet. Because of the pains, I'm not going to school again before the exam approach.
But Bernice is determined and wants to become a nurse despite her condition. After passing her mock examination in the Adaklu district, she was registered to take part in the 2017 BECE. She is confident she will get good grades and make her mom proud. Bernice's mother, Victoria, who is a widow, accompanies her to the examination center every day. She says even though she was unable to pay the initial 810 Ghana cedis for tests at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, she makes sure she seeks medical care whenever she's in pain.
I didn't give birth to her in that condition. The hunch started developing at her back at age 6. She was taken to the Whole Municipal Hospital, but was referred to Trafalgar and later to Focus Clinic, where we were asked to do a test at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. But the amount requested for the test was too huge for me to afford. I only take her to the hospital when she feels pains, but the hunch keeps growing bigger. She does everything in a prostrate position and complains about pains in the side and knee, which have affected her moving around.
Victoria is hopeful it is not too late to correct her daughter's condition.
Away from the BEC, political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Alidu Seidu, says it's sad that Ghanaians living abroad are unable to participate in national elections. Dr. Seidu says in the past decade, since the Representation of the People Amendment Act was passed, the state should have liaised with the Electoral Commission to pilot the implementation of the act that enables Ghanaians in the diaspora vote in national elections. His comments come on the back of a High Court order to the EC to produce evidence of the implementation of the act since it was passed. This is part of an ongoing case where 5 Ghanaians living abroad are suing the Commission for denying them their right to vote under the act. Though the Commission argues they've begun implementing the process, Dr. Seidu believes these processes should have been further advanced by now.
My expectation was that at the time that this bill was being shaped, the expectation was that the state would be able to liaise with the Electoral Commission, provide it an extra budget to be able to maybe start piloting some of this particular act. So I know piloting still means that you are going to disenfranchise some people who are not in the countries that are being piloted. But that would have given us an opportunity to experiment with the policy and see the challenges that are associated with the policy, the setbacks, and maybe a little bit of financial estimation so that we are able to address the challenges that we encounter in the countries that we have experimented and then keep adding more countries as we move forward. So maybe by now we'll have been able to cover countries that we have so much Ghanaians living. And that thing also has to do with the fact that we need to know the number of Ghanaians who live in other countries. Some of them are officially registered. Majority of them are not registered. So that is also an added financial cost for Ghanaian missions abroad to be able to get the total list of people who are living there, who are registered with the mission, so that they are now given the opportunity to vote. But since we have not been able to experiment, or maybe openly we are not told we have been experimented with that policy, so we still don't know the associated challenges, the grievances, and then how to improve them. And once we are not able to do this, it gives us so much challenge to be able to make it universal in all countries that Ghana have missions abroad.
Former Chief Justice Georgina Theodora Wood is asking leaders to see their positions as a place of service, not one to create, loot, and share. According to her, Ghana will be a better place if leaders of various positions stop seeing their various offices as places to amass wealth. She was speaking at a Thanksgiving service held in her honor by the Ringway Gospel Center Assemblies of God, marking her 70th birthday that also coincided with her retirement as Chief Justice of Ghana.
Clad in an all-white apparel, flanked by family, friends and colleagues, Ghana's first female Chief Justice joined the choir to sing and dance. Amid cheers and tears, Justice Georgina Theodora Wood gave thanks to God for a successful tenure of office. Justice Wood seized the opportunity to advise Ghanaian leaders to stop seeing their positions as means to amass wealth. She opined that leadership positions are service to God and country.
And I learned something from him. When even I think I was just a high court judge. He taught us on leadership. And I remember, because at the time, if you are promoted in Ghana, they say you received a European appointment. So in my mind, I thought if you're a leader, then it's time to enjoy. That's the time when everybody has to bow down to you. That's the time when you receive rather than give. But Osofo Adjei taught us that when they talk about leadership, we're talking about servanthood. Leadership is not about I should grab, I should get, I should everybody else, when the leader is satisfied before you come in. And he taught me this simple, and I grasped it. That, so if you're a leader, this is what, it's not a time for, it is a time for servanthood.
Here, friends and colleagues sharing fond memories of the longest-serving Chief Justice.
You can see that she has really lifted the infrastructure projects in the judiciary, not only in Accra, but across the length and breadth of the country.
What would you miss about her?
Well, she has an appetite for fine details and hard work, and when she gives an assignment, she will insist on you completing within the expected timeline. Sometimes she will put pressure on you, and I like her for one thing. She would never take an offense when you suggest something which she doesn't share that vision.
I found myself working with her on committees that had both members of the bench and bar on committee.
Very interesting statements there by the Chief Justice. We wish her all the best in her retirement life. Now, the State Protocol Office has released details about Friday's state burial for the late Major Maxwell Adam Mahama, who was lynched at Dentro Boase in the Central Region. According to a statement from the office, a vigil will be held at the Arakam Officers' Mess at Burma Camp today, Thursday, June 8 at 7 p.m. And then tomorrow, Friday, June 9, the body will be moved to the forecourt of the State House. Michael Labi, of the Directorate of the Ghana Armed Forces, has been talking to Maxwell about God.
In the final phase of our preparatory works, this evening we're going to start with a vigil. Tomorrow we have a burial service itself at the forecourt of the State House, and after that we do the interment at the military cemetery. Then subsequently there will be other funeral rites for the family in Boli and Tumo respectively.
President Akufo-Addo announced that he'll be given a state burial. We already know that, and then that will be with a full military honors. Now, what are some of the things that we are likely to see? We know usually at events like what we're going to see tomorrow, the casket will be draped in the Ghana flag.
Yes, it will. He was on national duty. Once he's performing a military duty, he was still in active service. He's not retired. And so in the course of such death, you give him the full military burial. And taking the national dimension for which he lost his life, the president announced that it's going to be a state burial. So that means the state is more involved in how the affairs of the burial is conducted. So it is not only for the military itself, but the state itself is fully involved in it.
And then that flag that will be used to cover the casket is the same flag that will be folded and given to the wife.
Yes, once he was on national assignments, and you pay the ultimate sacrifice while serving the country. And you know our national colors, our flag is the soul and spirit of the country. And so it is an honor also that you have passed on while serving your country. So it is normally folded and given to the wife for keeps, for remembrance that his husband passed on while in service of this very colors that he was serving.
Now tell us about the bugle call. What exactly is the bugle call?
Bugle call is like a farewell call on the passing of a person. You normally sound a farewell call whilst being sent to the cemetery. And at the graveside also they sound a bugle call that is the last post to signal the end of an era of a particular military person who has served with distinction.
So what is it going to be like? We have somebody blowing a trumpet, or what's it going to be?
We normally have what we call two buglers from the military band, and they will be sounding that bugle call.
Now, after that bugle call, now there will be a procession, we are told, to the Osu Military Cemetery. Are we going to have any military presence also there?
Well, you have a lot of military persons lining up the streets, and they will be paying the last compliments as the body is moved by. Those not in uniform would have to brace up, those in uniform would salute, and those holding the rifles will present arms as a sign of compliment, paying their last respects to the deceased before he is sent to the cemetery for burial. That is a procession. And whilst going through, that will be sounding the farewell call when they get to the cemetery before they sound the last post itself at the graveside.
You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedu. We'll take a quick break. Still to come in this bulletin, we'll bring you some updates on the UK election underway. Thank you for staying here on Joy News today. The UK's snap general election is underway. The eyes of thousands of strategists, politicians, and the public are on the polls. Posters are said to have got a bad reputation after they mostly missed Brexit and the scale of the Conservatives' 2015 majority. Let's go over to the UK via Skype and speak to Na Chocho Soyo, who is a presenter with London-based ABN Radio, currently in Brixton, West London. Hello, Na.
Oh, hello.
Hi, good afternoon. How's the UK?
The UK is cloudy, but fine.
And
very, very expectant.
Okay. What can you tell us about the polls so far?
So far, we've managed to speak to a number of people. And the common thing that's coming through is that most people are looking to vote Labour, at least within the demographic that we've spoken to. We've been to Brixton, we've been to areas in West London, West Norwood and Brixton sites, and those people appear to want to vote Labour, purely based on the fact that they feel they're more for the people.
Interesting. So tell us what the polls are saying.
Well, so far, it's very, very tight. In fact, at this moment in time, there's even talk of a possible hung parliament, which could, in the worst case scenario, generate a runoff. But it's very, very tight. At the last count, there was only 1% between the two parties. So it's anybody's guess who's going to be the next Prime Minister of the UK.
Interesting. Now let's talk about what has dominated the campaign leading to this particular election.
Right. The main things are the NHS, immigration, of course. Immigration, interestingly enough, was the basis for the Brexit referendum. And we know what happened there. Britain chose to leave. And so immigration is at the forefront. Education is at the forefront, also with Labour promising to scrap the £9,000 a year, university fees. Also at the forefront is energy. Conservatives are talking about capping the energy, which means in winter when we're all very cold, we won't have to pay more than we do in summer. And also we don't know the number of years that's going to be for. The other thing that's coming through is a rise in wages. As far as Labour is concerned, they're going to make the minimum wage, raise it up to £10. So for the average Londoner, and indeed for the average Ghanaian living in London, these are some of the things that are influencing decision making. And I find that these are some of the things that have influenced votes in favour of Labour.
All right, and now just hold on a minute for me because I've got Kate Bosse, who's coming to us from central London, to tell us what she can also report from that part of the UK. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
So what's the situation where you are as regards today's election?
Okay, well, obviously, Brits are at the polling booths today, and they are no longer able to be surveyed or polled or sort of asked how they're voting. But I can give you the situation as of last night. So polling booths opened at 7 o'clock this morning. They stay open until 10 o'clock this evening. And you'll see an exit poll at 10 o'clock this evening, which will give us a pretty clear view on the results of the election. Although, as we know from Brexit, as we know from Trump becoming president, and as we know also from the election here in 2015, we can't always trust the exit polls. So you have to put a big question mark on this. But as of last night, the Conservative government, obviously led by Theresa May, had a lead of 7 points. Now that's taken from one particular poll. If we look at polls across the board, so there are probably 5 or 6 main polling companies. The average lead, really, that the Conservatives seem to have, according to those polls, is between 7 and 9 points. This means that Theresa May would increase, and the Conservative government would increase their hold on the number of seats in the UK, and would, of course, remain in government. I think you may have been aware that Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party, has probably surprised many people during this election and the campaigning surrounding it. He started off with as much as sort of 24 points behind the Conservatives, and as the campaign has gone on, his popularity has increased and he's surprised a lot of people. So even though it looks likely that the Conservatives will be in government once again by tomorrow morning here in the UK, this has certainly done no harm at all for Jeremy Corbyn, who was, or certainly was at that time, before the election sort of started, he was probably one of the most unpopular Labour leaders of recent times. So it's certainly done him a favour, but it's probably not done him enough of a favour to put the Labour ahead.
All right, Kate, so what have people been saying and hashtagging on social media?
Okay, well, obviously we can't talk about how people are voting, and the media here aren't allowed to ask people how they're voting. But the media have been at polling booths across the country, and what's brilliant here is that you'll often find a sort of couple of slightly more niche hashtags going around Twitter. There is dogs at polling stations, so hashtag dogs at polling stations. People have been taking pictures of their dogs and them at polling stations going to vote. And then there's now babies at polling stations. So the two hashtags, babies at polling stations and dogs at polling stations, have been battling it out on Twitter for the most inventive photos.
All right. Thank you very much, Kate, for the updates. But back to you now. How enthusiastic are voters?
Voters are pretty enthusiastic, at least the people we have spoken to. It looks like there is a larger turnout in these elections than there has been in the past, and indeed there has been during the referendum. Interestingly, talking of hashtags, one of the things that come out across social media is whether or not when we go out to vote, we should use a pen or a pencil.
Sure.
And we were having a discussion earlier and talking about the fact that everyone who is listening must use the implements supplied.
Sure.
So again, yes, there is a sort of ban on discussions in detail from media perspective as to the elections, but we can talk about other things as a result. But yeah, in general, everybody's enthusiastic.
Now we know that, I mean, in recent times there have been 2 attacks, one in Manchester and the other on the London Bridge. Do you think that the London attack, the recent one, has impacted today's polls in any way?
Well, from the perspective of wanting safety, at least we know that in terms of conservative policies, they are talking about making us safer. But I don't know, from the people I've spoken to, at least, that doesn't seem to be something that is part of the main agenda. Okay. For some people, it's because they voted a particular way all the time, and that's how they're going to vote. But yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to influence certain people's decision making. They need to be safer.
Sure.
They need for more police on the streets, etc.
Now, finally, before you leave, when are polls closing and when should we expect results of today's election?
Well, we are looking to about 10 p.m. When polls close, and then the results will start coming out. We feel as though, I think we will get the results called, optimistically from early tomorrow morning.
Okay.
But certainly through the night, counting will be going on, and hopefully by early tomorrow morning, we should get some results coming in.
Thank you very much, Nachocho. We wish you all the best in an incident-free election today in the UK. That'll be it for our coverage this afternoon on the UK election. Up next is Business News with Emmanuel Obwaje Biafi.